The reporter from CMG. Now I'm in a local county of inland province of China at a very beautiful lake in Xinjiang, Bazhou. Now you will see flocks of local birds called the red-mouthed birds. And this lake is called the Boston Lake. Usually, flocks of birds gather here. They stay on the land or they swim or they stay on the surface of the lake. And they feed on the fish and waterborne plants in the lake. And I am joined by a number of tourists, and they are feeding the birds. If you are familiar with these birds, you will see that these birds are used to interacting with humankind, and they have become the stars of this lake. So the Boston Lake, I'd like to give you some information about this lake. And today we are happy to have with us a director of the local forestry administration and grassland administration bureau. Please say hi to the viewers. Hi everyone, I'm Wu Ren Xingji from the local forestry and grassland administration bureau. Glad to see you online. Well, you can see flocks of birds gathering on the surface of the lake at this season of the year, every year. Yes, these birds come every year at this season, and the tourists gather also to feed the birds. Are you a local? Yes, I grew up from here, and I was fed by the lake and by the land. Well, many online viewers, for them, it's their first time to view this lake through our live stream program. So could you say something about this lake? Well, the Boston Lake is the largest inland lake, unsalty lake. It boasts a large number of fishery resources. It is also one of the largest bays in Xinjiang for the fish products. Well, thank you for your basic introduction to the Boston Lake. We know that it's the season for the migratory birds to arrive in Boston Lake. So how many categories of birds are there? Well, the migratory birds, in total, we have over 100 categories. That is a large category, taking up 39% of the total categories of birds in Xinjiang. I noticed that you have a brochure with you. What's this about? It's about the protection of the wildlife. Could you show to the online viewers some pictures and pages? It's basically about the basic categories of birds and animals, the wild animals, including the birds that people usually see in their daily life. This category that I pointed to is a usual category, and also a duck in dark feather can be detected in winter season. I think one picture is very interesting and is worthwhile to be shown to the online viewers. Some species are quite rare to be seen during the winter season. Well, locally speaking, do you have a certain area that these birds gather? Of course, we have a picture to show you. This is a map of the Boston Lake wetland protection area, which shows our daily protection and the monitoring of this lake. In this map, we have marked some points and sites for the monitoring and protection of the birds. And our staff have marked these sites based on their daily work. Well, thank you, Director Wu, for your introduction. I think what she has mentioned is very important. The area I have pointed to with the marks in red characters are the area that has the most concentrated gathering of the birds, especially this one that I pointed to. I have seen that during our previous footages, we have detected a certain bird called a luci in Chinese, as you see on the footage. Well, we are keen to protect these birds to ensure they have good rest and they can get food based on their needs. So the area that I have pointed to is the area that the birds need to rest and shield from their natural enemies. So we have provided a sound habitat, an area for them to enjoy a good time and have a good rest. So the birds gather here sometimes to fish, to get the fish. So we provide a certain environment for them to catch the fish. Bailuzhou area, among others, is very important sites. In November, we have swans coming here. Several days ago, in another site called the Bailuzhou, the weather is nice, the temperature is nice, so the swans feel like coming here and resting here. So most of them flock here in the Boston Lake since October, and they stay also in November. So these two sites that I pointed to are quite shallow. They don't have deep waters. That's easy for the birds to survive. So I see that most of the birds are good at catching the fish in these shallow areas, shallow watered areas. Besides, we have captured very nice footages of the sunset, footages of the swans resting against the sunset. It shows they had a leisure time. So is this a regular scene every year that people can see? Yes, every year, no matter it's swan or other kind of birds, they will flock here in the Boston Lake, forming an attractive scenery to people. The Boston Lake has an area of over 1,600 square kilometers. So what kind of advantages have you leveraged to protect the birds? Well, we encourage people to bring map and also other tools to help with the monitoring if they want to see the birds. For areas that is far, we use UAV to help. Normally, you would need a telescope that is enough. So your people have been protecting the birds around the year. Yes, our people are working really hard to protect the migratory birds. And through years of protection, they have learned about the birds so well that they know which sites the birds like most. And that's how they can mark the sites on this map. Of course, throughout the years, there can be a lot of changes. For example, in the past, people walk on their feet to the wetlands. And now we have new automobiles, like motorcycles and cars. And for other areas that cannot be reached by automobiles, we need still people to intervene. And we also build towers for monitoring the birds. And the telescope is also a useful toolkit. And now UAV technology has been applied also to help with the protection of the migratory birds, especially the monitoring process. The UAV is also helpful to help us capture the footage and pictures of the migratory birds. Well, I have another question. Well, on this map, we have a large area of the water. In the wetland, do we have other kinds of ecosystems? Surrounding this Boston Lake, we have a large area of reed. The area is 600,000 square mu. Now, if you feel the sand, the area is where I pointed to on this map. What is special about this area is that on one side is the lake, on the other is the sand. It has become an attractive destination for tourists. And this place has formed a sand dune. Yes, many people have come here. The tourists like this place very much, and we've held the bicycling event. What about water sports? We also hold the water-related sports because Boston Lake is famous for its peculiar advantage of water resources. So we've held many festivals related to this lake. Like in winter season, we have a snow and ice festival. In summer, we hold a sport game, cross-country game in the desert. So we provide all these activities to enrich the experience of our tourists. During this interview, through our footage, we find that the white-mouthed bird, swan, and the egret are the most commonly seen categories of migratory birds in the Boston Lake. Yes, we have classified these birds into the commonly seen categories and uncommonly seen categories. Besides, we have a number of other categories like red-mouthed duck. Well, in the process of monitoring these migratory birds, what is the status of your protection stations? Well, we have 4 protection stations. We have put in place many hands to help with detecting, and we have mapped out a detection route so that our staff can follow this detection route and form a journal on a daily basis. This journal records the status of the birds, including whether these birds got hurt or not. Well, in such a large area, how can you coordinate your people to ensure the sound operation of the monitoring? Well, in some key periods of time in the year and some period that bans the fishing, we will step up efforts to protect the wildlife. You mentioned the reeds. You have an area of 600,000 mu of reeds by the lake. Well, this place is has the largest area of reeds in China, one of the 4 top places that has the largest area of reeds in the country. So we encourage our local people to help harvest the reeds and cut the reeds. The purpose is to encourage the reeds to grow better the next year. Dear online viewers, today we have specially prepared 2 paintings. Take a wild guess, what are these made of? The 2 paintings are made of the reeds. The reeds have been processed by demoisturization and by sun heat, and these reeds have been dried. Under this picture, the material is taken from part of the tree trunk. And the name of the tree is called Populus amphoratica, very famous category in Xinjiang. Well, if you want to produce a delicate picture, it normally takes 5 months to 6 months to finish the painting. This painting is about a vivid picture of the local lake with the boats resting on the surface of the lake and telling a story about the local people fishing on the lake. And the picture is about the sunset. On the bottom of the boats, you can see the color of the bottom of the boats is darker than other parts of the boat. We have applied a specific technology that is to iron the bottom of the boat to make the color darker. Well, these paintings serve as a very nice souvenir for the tourists. What other ways are they used for? Well, we create these souvenirs to inherit the culture of the Boston Lake. Here we have a rich variety of inspirations and resources. For example, the leaf of the reeds can be used for making rice dumplings, and some reeds can be used for making medicine tea. So what are the requirements for daily management? Well, we are keen about the different stages of growth of the reeds. The growth stage, the breeding stage, the growth stage, the maturity stage, and the harvest stage. So each stage follows the previous one closely. And we are keen for these reeds to grow better and better. Dear online viewers, as you can see on the footage, more and more birds are flocking on the surface of the lake. On my left hand, in the far side, there is a boat moving on the lake. Will the ship cause any influence to the birds? Well, I don't think so, because I have taken a boat experience by myself. When I feed the birds, when I stayed in the boat and feed the birds are never afraid of humanity or the ship of the boat. They just follow my finger and follow the food. Well, I can see that as many tourists come here to feed the birds, the migratory birds have become used to being fed by the tourists, especially the red-mouthed birds. Or black-headed gull. Well, in another scenic spot from here, we provide another scenery where the lakes and the reeds coexist with each other in harmony. Well, as you grow up, can you share with us some of the changes you have witnessed about the lake? Well, throughout the years, I think I'm quite happy about this lake. When I was young or younger, my parents took me with them to the lake side and took the boat to pay a special service to the lake to express our gratitude to the lake. It's quite blowy in the lakeside. Thank you for sharing with us your beautiful memories about the lake. Can you tell us more about the changes in the environment of the lake? Well, I think the management of the environment has been stronger than the previous years, because in the early years, it's quite different. Now, if you come to the lakeside, you will feel very much at ease, and it will bring you a nice experience. What kind of sites will you recommend if people want to see the birds? Well, no matter by walking by the lake or you took a car, it will promise an unforgettable experience. It will be an enjoyable experience to the tourists. Well, I'd like to bring us back to the topic of today, that is the protection of the migratory birds. As they flock in here in the winter time, how can we ensure these birds get enough food? Well, we have a daily routine. We have a team of staff that perform daily routine on the lakeside. We also work together with the Ministry of Rural Areas and the countryside to perform joint inspection efforts on the illegal acts like haunting of the birds. Some birds are afraid of people, but if you continue to feed them, on the second day, they are no longer afraid of you anymore. Well, for the sites that people can see the birds more easily, you have put more efforts to protect them, right? Yes. Where the birds will give birth to their babies, like 3 or 5 of the babies at this season, it will take them 45 days to give birth to a baby. So they will take the baby with them to find the food. Well, thank you for your detailed introduction about this area and the lake and the birds, which has enhanced our understanding of the migratory birds from the lake from the protection of the lake to the production of the souvenirs. And lately, the more efforts have been put into the protection of this lake, and I believe there will be more and better measures to help create a clean environment around the lake. I hope the migratory birds will arrive at their destination and hope to see them again next spring. Well, ladies and gentlemen, dear online viewers, that is the end of today's live stream. See you next time. Thank you. Dear online viewers, now I'm in Yili of Xinjiang, in the middle part of the valley, and we're in a small town which is famous for its Swan wetland. So you will get to see a large number of swans in this place. Now what you see, as you see, swans are flocking on the lake. And they have a special name. And these swans are not afraid of people at all. If you see carefully their mouth, they have a black nose. Normally, they spend their winter at the Yellow River. But why are they here this year in Xinjiang? And why they choose this place as their mostly celebrated destination? Dear online viewers, hi everyone. Well, I'm very happy to be joined by this local villager who is a protector of the swans and one of the beneficiaries of the swan economy. Why are you called the second generation of the protectors? In 1993, we found the swans for the first time. And then we started to do some protection to ensure the swans spent their winter safely. 1993? How old were you? I was only 7. How did you find the swans? I remember one day my father took me up to look around, and my father took me on a special task to check whether there is some problem with the lake, like a water leakage. And that's when we found these swans. When we first found the swans, there were only a pair of the swans, followed by a few others. A researcher, a swan expert from China's Forestry University, reported his discovery about the swans, especially the behaviors of this category of swans. And he noted that this category is one of the most beautiful swans. Well, in the fairy tales we read in school time, the swans have long necks. And that is this category that we are referring to. Actually, this swan is called mute swan. And this swan is longer than other categories. What are some of the habits of this mute swan? They can make sound, but they cannot communicate through sound. So they use body language to communicate with each other. So if the two swans form a pair and touch their head of each other, that means they are couple. As you see on the footage, if two of them form the shape of a heart, that means they are a couple. Well, the mute swan does not produce as beautiful sound as other swans, and they tend to make lower sounds. But that does not mean they don't make any voice at all. Let me try to feed them and hear what kind of voices they will make. They are not making any voice at all. It seems that these swans are quite quiet. Actually, they can make a very peculiar voice. Normally, the swans are good at attracting others through their songs, but this is not something that the mute swan is good at. The most classic movement is the shape of heart that two swans can form together. For example, as you can see on this footage, these two swans are looking into the eyes of each other, or they are trying to express love, feelings to each other. That's when they will form a shape of heart. In the culture of many countries, that is a token of love or affection. It provides a very beautiful picture. In 1993, that's a long time ago, how would you evaluate the efforts that you put into the protection of the swans? Does it cost you more efforts? Well, we protected the swans on a voluntary basis, especially the first generation. If the animals are stay on the ice, we would try to provide the rope, to help the swans out. And we are keen to keep them warm, and we will watch them closely to ensure they do not get cold, and move them from the surface of the ice to the surface of the lake water. So what is the number of swans nowadays? I think there are 300 of them. I think there were 300 of them, but now there is 800. Many swans stayed in the fish ponds of the local villagers. Yes, that is the same story with me. Well, in the beginning, the number of the swans is very small, and now the number has grown to approximately 1,000. More and more people have become the protectors of the swans. And today we are honored to be joined by Mr. Duan Yaojun, the secretary of the local village committee. Hello, everyone. I am the secretary of this village. Have you grown up from here? Yes. In 1993, there were only 5 swans. The swans were detected by the villagers, and they were very happy about the swans. That's why they formed a protection team. And they become the guardians of the swan. Over the past 30 years, the guardians have been working around the swans to ensure their safety. This place used to be the fish ponds. The lake area has grown from 180 mu to 580 mu nowadays. That means the protection area of the swans has enlarged. Well, by providing a larger space, what will the villagers what opinion do the villagers hold? Well, the villagers are happy about protecting the swans. So they are willing to provide the space. From the footage, we can see the swans enjoy a larger water area where they can move freely. The mute swans are in their migration period, which started from October to the mid and the later half of November. During the migration, what will happen? Well, the swans will flock here through the second half of the day to dawn. The swans are afraid of getting not enough food, including the waterborne plants. So the swans may be fighting for the food. And the mute swans also fight with other categories of swans. Well, there are 3 flocks of swans coming at the same time. Well, the first group arrive first. And the second group bring with them their children. They travel a long distance to reach this place before they reach the final destination for spending the winter season. So they take a rest here and move to their final destination. The last group that arrive here mature the slowest, and they leave this place last. Well, the swans are very smart. They know when to exit this place. Every March, they will exit in 15 or 20 days, all of them. In order to ensure a safe trip for the swans, the villagers thought hard and they have tried to help. One of the wetlands is very close by the village. The villagers have a habit, that is to turn off the street lights on a voluntary basis. Why do they do so? Because the lights are not good for the eyes of the swans. So the villagers have decided to turn off the street lights every year voluntarily. And the villagers have continued to do so year by year. Anything that is harmful to the swans will be cancelled. Well, I was told by one of the villagers that the swans means good luck for the village. So once the swans arrive, that means they are coming home. That represents the love of the local villagers for the swan. So what else have you done to protect them? Well, there is a problem about the lake. That is, the water was running out when the swans arrived. So the villagers took on their own initiative to help restore this area to provide a better environment for the swans. And I heard that this place has a hot spring with a higher temperature than other areas. Yes, the source of the hot spring, the temperature is very high. Over the years, the villagers have raised their awareness of protecting the swans, and they are doing better and better. Well, the first time I came here, I heard the name Swan Village, and I was quite curious about the name. And now I understand how the village got its name. And the village has also opened hotels with the theme of the swans. So the village has taken on a new phase in its development. It is highly related to the swans. Well, last year, the tourists in the Swan that stay here in the Swan stage period amounted to 180,000. That is a large number. So the swans have also brought benefits to the people. The people are protecting the swans, and the swans are also feeding the people back. As I mentioned, there was the first generation of the guardians, and Now we have the second generation of guardians, and they have become the beneficiaries of the swan economy. So is there any difference with the generation of your father? In my father's generation, their protection measures are more conservative. And they were lucky to see the most beautiful stage of the swans, where the swans use the body language to communicate with each other. And my father used videos and photos to record the unforgettable moments about the swans. I was told by my teacher that if you want to be a good guardian of the swans, the first thing you need to do is to understand and know the swans. And to show the most touching moments of the swans to other people, so that the people will get to love them more and more and want to protect them better and better. Does this make any difference? Sure, I believe these protection measures will make a difference. When the videos of the swans are posted online, people are surprised about the body language of the swans, and they found the satisfaction from watching the swans. And more of them decide to come to this place to see for themselves. So the swans are really making a change for the village. By posting the village online, the villagers learn more about the swans, and their awareness of protection is raising. Well, the most popular video of the swan got a watching volume of 51 million viewers. Does the swan bring any change to your life? Sure. In the past, I was just like others, knowing not enough about the swans. But as years pass, I have gained a stronger sense of responsibility in protecting the swans. I heard you also running a hotel by yourself. Yes, my hotel is very popular, and a lot of reservations are being made. So people's life is also getting better because of the swans. While the changing are taking place throughout the years, it has turned better and brought better life to the people. I heard you are going to make a video, special video about the swans, a documentary about the journey of protecting the swans. Yes, we are planning a documentary to present the swans in autumn season. And we also want to show how the swans are bred and how they migrate in the documentary. Well, thank you for joining our program today. Thank you for your valuable information. And I wish you everything. I wish you all the best in your life. And today's footage shows the harmonious coexistence between human and nature. So I wish you all the best. Thank you.